Hey, welcome to, well, it's Sunday here. You may be watching it Sunday, you may be watching it Monday. But we have now entered week 7? Is that right? It all just goes in a blur. But you have got a lot of things to do this week for History of Television and Radio. Make sure you do your discussion board peer response by tomorrow. The one that's looking at how sources are being used in or rather the one that is about what kinds of sources you could be using to do something. Hopefully everyone had an interesting time with that discussion board post. I'm gonna be looking at those after you do your things tomorrow. Also on Wednesday, you have your next mini exam over modules 6 and 7. Make sure you are looking closely at the short answer questions as they're asking something very specific, using very specific things from different modules. So make sure you're doing that. That's Wednesday. I hope you're enjoying module 6 and 7. Module 7 is my one of my favorite times. I grew up in the 70s and love 1970s television. And then Friday, your personal history and source analysis paper is due. So you should be working on that. Look in the D12 News section on the homepage for the rubric I'll be using with that. Make sure you're hitting all the points you need to hit. Remember, this isn't just you repeating answers from people. It's about whoever you're interviewing, not about you. Sometimes people make that error, and it ends up becoming much more about them than the other individual. So make sure that you are answering the questions. You're thinking about the specific times in which your people were watching television or listening to radio and how their answers speak to that period. So you're not even just using what you're getting from them, but you're also using what you've learned in class and thinking about how those things work together. Think about how you're making that historical argument that we've been talking about. So think about that and make sure you're backing up what you have to say. You're not just making claims. And remember, there's a section of this it's a source analysis, which is an important section. That's the section that's really about you thinking historiographically, thinking about how what you're doing right here, how effective that is in terms of thinking about history, ways in which it's useful, ways in which it isn't, things they, you know, I give you very specific questions. Make sure you look at those. But again, this should be both your kind of historical study and your reflection on that historical study. So that's due Friday. And then you also have a discussion board post due Friday, which is on the paper. So a large part of the discussion board post can to some degree be pulled out of the paper. And then I'm asking you to again think kind of historiographically or critically about your process. So that is what is due this week. As an added bonus, one might say, I'm going to add an additional extra credit option. You can still only do one of the extra credits, but this Wednesday on, is it CBS? It would make sense if it was CBS. I have to double check and make sure, but that is what would make sense. I'll post a thing. They are doing a live airing of kind of a reboot or reconceptualization of All in the Family and the Jeffersons. I'll post the little ad for it as well in D2L. And I'm going to come up with a discussion board, or not a discussion board question, a possible extra credit option that would allow you to reflect on what it is they're doing there in the context of 1970s television that we've discussed, and also in context of the present and how you see it working in the present. So that's my story. So Monday, peer response. Wednesday, mini exam. Friday, paper due. Got a big week. And discussion board that goes with the paper. And then if you want to do the extra credit for on All in the Family and the Jeffersons live airing, I'll come up with a due date for that. It won't. It'll be due sometime next week. Let me look at your schedule. But that means you have to watch it. I'm not positive yet whether they're going to put that on CBS All Access afterwards or whether it won't be on Hulu because I think it's CBS. And CBS is the one that's not really recognized there. So I'm not sure if it'll be streaming somewhere. But we'll get to that. And now is the point in which I'm just rambling. So I hope you're having a good weekend through this I'm going to rain, I'm not going to rain whole shebang. And I will talk to you soon. I'll see you on the boards. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. Hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. Have a good one. Okay, bye.